Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Bible Podcast presented by Saint Church. My name is Caleb, and our hope is to help you study the Word of God every single day. Every day, we're taking time to upload episodes on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, where we read a chapter of the Bible, look at the context it was written in, and we see what it has to say for us today. Today, we're doing just that by diving on into Genesis chapter 7. And hey, really quick, if you're checking this out on YouTube, you end up enjoying it, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, maybe even leave a like on the video. If you're over on Apple and Spotify, make sure to follow along, and maybe even leave a rating and a review if you really like it. But with that being said, let's dive right on into Genesis chapter 7. Let's see what the Word of God has to say for us today. Starting in verse 1, it says this: "The Lord then said to Noah, 'Go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate, and also 7 pairs of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth. 7 days from now I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made.' And Noah did all that the Lord commanded him." Now, Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters came on the earth, and Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Pairs of clean and unclean animals, of birds and all creatures that move along the ground, male and female, came to Noah and entered the ark, as God had commanded Noah. And after the 7 days, the flood waters came on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the 2nd month, on that day all the springs of the deep burst forth water, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened, and rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On that very day Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with their wife and the wives of the 3 sons, entered the ark. They had with them every wild animal according to its kind, all livestock according to their kind, every creature that moves along the ground according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, everything with wings. Pairs of all creatures that have the breath of life in them came to Noah and entered the ark. The animals going in were male and female of every living thing, as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord shut him in. For 40 days the flood kept coming on the earth, and as the waters increased, they lifted the ark high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The waters rose and covered the mountains to a depth of more than 15 cubits. Every living thing that moved on land perished: birds, livestock, wild animals, all the creatures that swarm over the earth, and all mankind. Everything on dry land that had the breath of life in its nostrils died. Every living thing on the face of the earth was wiped out: people and animals and all the creatures that move along the ground, and the birds were wiped from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those with him on the ark. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days. And that's the close of Genesis chapter 7. Now, in this chapter, we're seeing the story of Noah and the flood start to really take shape. We're starting to see things build out more and more. And within this chapter, we're not quite to the point where Noah's going to go and try to see what's happening and all that stuff post-flood, but in the midst of the flood, we see some important things. First off, we see that God has gone and he has prepared Noah with what is necessary. Why does he prepare Noah? Because he sees Noah as righteous, as someone of right living who was honoring and seeking after God, and through that was given the opportunity to represent God in this new season, this new time, as God was going to bring about a new order of things. Now, in this, God then went and did not just care for humanity, did not just care for the random things, but he cared for all of creation. He cared for all of his creation by bringing about all of the animals, all of the necessary things to help see these things carry on after the flood. Now, ultimately, what again do we see in this beginning section of Genesis that we're going to see for about the first 12 chapters? We are seeing God's heart put on display. We see that God looked around at all of humanity in the previous chapter, in chapter 6, and he wasn't happy with it. He wasn't okay with what was going on. Yet he goes and he ends up saying, you know what? I do see this man who is righteous, and guess what? I want to spare him. And through that, what does he do? He ultimately ends up sparing the human race, and he ends up giving us an opportunity to continue to partner with him. Now, In this moment, then, we are seeing God give us a second chance of sorts as he goes and he ends up equipping Noah with all that is necessary to see the ability for humanity to move on, and also all of the animals and that sort of a thing. I think something that matters is that God cares about his creation. God cares about it. God cares about the animals. He cares about what's going on. We see that he has not forgotten about it, although he was upset with it. Now, in this moment, I think something that really matters is to note the fact that as he goes and he ends up having all these different things happen, it says, after the 7 days, okay, so this is verse 10, after the 7 days, the flood waters came on the earth. Okay, so really quick, what's going on? We're seeing a little bit of a restart that's also being shown through the depiction of the numbers. Okay, what do we mean by this? In Genesis chapter 1 and 2, we see that God created the earth in 7 days. What do we see after God gives Noah his commands? He sees that all the animals come together, all the supplies come together, all the things that need to get packed in the ark come together in 7 days. And then the Lord seals it, and then the waters rise. What do we see in Genesis chapter 1? We see that the God's Spirit was hovering above the waters. What do we see now for Noah and this creation? We see that it is above the waters. It's an interesting depiction that we do have to wrestle with for just a moment, because what are we seeing God do? We are seeing God continue to invite humanity into creation, and now we are seeing that his creation is allowed to be taken above the chaos that lied beneath it. Above the chaos. That although there was this chaos, although there was all this stuff going on, we see that God gives us a chance. He gives us an opportunity. And ultimately, in this moment, what we're going to see as this carries on, as the flood narrative comes to a close, we are seeing God give creation a new start. And I think something that matters so much within this is that ultimately what we're going to get to see in the next chapter, it matters so much in the next 2 chapters, is that God's heart is put on display for us to not have to doubt him going forward, because there's very reasonable things happening here. God is upset. God is angry. God is not okay with how things have gone. And so he looks and he says, we have to figure some things out, and we are going to get to continue to see how God chooses to choose us time and time again. So Genesis chapter 7, what's going on here? God's restarting some things, but he's not doing a full restart. He's letting us stay in the mixture. He's letting us stay in the process and within the creation that he has made, because we are entrusted to steward it, and he is being true to his word. So with that being said, you guys, that's what I got for you today. Genesis chapter 7. It's a part of the story. You might say, Caleb, this doesn't feel like a complete thought. It's because we're only partway through this story. So hang on with me. Let's jump back on tomorrow and let's lean in to what God's doing through his word. So right now, if you guys are enjoying this, make sure you guys take some time, subscribe to the channel, follow the podcast, leave a like or a rating if you don't mind. If you got any questions, comment them down below. But with that being said, thanks for being here today. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, because we're taking time to study the word of God every single day.